So Thorfinn grew up. So we got a little time skip. Thorfinn isn't a little kid no more. I mean, I think he's maybe in his 18, 1920s now.
Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility.
Hey, how y'all doing out there, guys? Welcome to the podcast. This is gonna be our Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 6. It is called Buying a Donkey. Um, what are we gonna do? This episode, we bought a horse. That's what it was. Bought a horse. I said buy a donkey, but it was bought a horse.
Seems the same.
I jumped onto the Twitter sphere and was talking with other people about this episode, and they all seem to have a different interpretation than I did. They said this is the best episode thus so far. Character development, stylizing, in depth. I was like, oh dang, man, my bad. I fell asleep twice watching this episode. Woke up, had to rewatch it, fell asleep again, woke up, and then rewatched it 3 times because it was such a boring episode. Did we learn anything? Yeah. I mean, yeah, we learned some stuff. So let me walk you through. So we open up the beginning. They're pulling some stumps out of the ground. The horse is too old that they have, and apparently they were borrowing the horse. And the actual guys who needed the horse, the other farmers, they took the other former slaves. They took the horse back, and they said, hey, y'all got to muscle it out because we need the horse. So Thorfinn grew up. So we got a little time skip. Thorfinn isn't a little kid no more. I mean, I think he's maybe in his 18, 1920s now, which is cool. Like we're getting further into the story of real Thorfinn. Like I said, slave, and then he goes and becomes like not an emperor, but like not a king, but like almost like a regent, and then goes to the New World and stuff like that. So we're getting there. So really great. They're looking for another horse. So they went to the stables. They asked the guy, "Hey man, can we get another horse?" Erin goes, "Can we get another horse?" And they're like, "Hell no, man! Y'all slaves, man. Y'all can pull those stumps out yourselves, slaves." And they're like, "Hey man, that's not right. Like our master said we can get any horse, man." And he's like, "Not for me." So he's like, get on out of here. And so they see their former slave buddies, and they're like, making fun of them, like, "Hey, you're big and strong. Go move your own stumps with your bodies, And he's like, Thorfinn's like, "Hey, chill out, and we're gonna do is cause trouble. The most pacified Thorfinn ever, is what we see. So therefore, Eden is like, "Okay, man, let's just head on back. We'll think of something." So they head on back, and then this old man is overhearing their conversation, and they come back over there. We are introduced to the old man at the very beginning of the episode when we meet Snake. So this old man is tilling the ground and stuff like that. He says, "Hey, yo, guys, come over here. Y'all looking for a horse?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're looking for a horse." And he's like, "Well, come over here." And then so he comes over here, and they're like, "Okay." So they get there, and he's like, "Well, I need this lumber chopped up. Go ahead and work on that." And they're like, "Okay." So they start cutting up some lumber and stuff like that. And like midday, it rains on it, and like, are we doing the chores? And he's like, Thorfinn's like, what's the difference? We're gonna do them anyway, And he's like, "Oh no, my bad, my apologies. They're pulling rocks from the ground." And like midday, they're like, "Are we working your land?" And Thorfinn's like, "Yeah, man, we're working this land." Like, hush, the old man's like, "Hey, your hands are moving and your mouth's moving. Which one, man? Because you want this horse or you don't want the horse." So he's like, "So all right, man." So he's like picking up, and then they start chopping some lumber up, and he's like halfway through the chopping lumber, like halfway through the day's gone. He's like, we're doing this man's chores now. He's like, Thorfinn's like, we're gonna do them anyway, man. We're slaves, man. And he's like, okay. So he sort of like reasons, you know, like, hey, I guess we got to help him out in order to get something out, right? So he ends up helping. They end up finishing up all the chores and everything, and the old man's like, okay, so here's my horse. He's a strong horse, but y'all can't have him. You're gonna rent him. Every day you're gonna come back. You're gonna do some chores. You're gonna do some stuff for me, and then I'll let y'all borrow the horse the next day. And they were like, okay, cool. We're gonna do that. So they get back. So they're walking with the horse. And then they have this conversation about plows. Like, oh man, you know, Master must be rich because he got like 18 plows. And then Thorfinn like, yeah, so what about them? And he's like, man, they're expensive. And they're like, Erin's like, they're expensive. And he's like, well, how expensive? He's like, they're like $8,000 a piece, man. And he's like, wow, $8,000 a piece. Yeah, this is the actual episode, guys. Like, I'm not like making this up. This is actual text from the episode. So they're walking, they're having conversations about plows and stuff like that, and they finally make it. We see the next day they're working for the old man. They go and they start pulling the lands, and they get a plow, and you know he has a plow. You know, the old man has a plow, and they're like, "Hey, can we borrow the plow?" He's like, yeah. You know, you gotta work for it. You know, so they're like, okay, so they work for it. They go grab the plow, and I mean, yeah, it's dramatically changing their life. They're pulling out multiple stumps out of the ground. They're now tilling the land. They're actually getting ahead, which is, you know, great. You know, like can all be done in like episode 3, like or episode 4, right? Like we don't need an entire episode over this, like half an episode. Like, you know, spend half the time letting this all fly by. But no, like we got to watch an entire 18-minute episode, or I think it's like 21, 26 minutes, right? Whatever. Like with all the fillers in there, you know? So we watched it, and so this is crazy. So they get caught in the rain. They're like making their way back, and they're like, hey, man, we got to get the horse back, the plow back. It's going to start raining. Let's get back to the barn. So they get back to the barn. A bit back to the old man's farm, and so they get to the old man's farm. They set up and everything, and so they hear you know, Master and this old man arguing inside his house. Basically, they're having a conversation, and we find out this old man is actually really. Oh, I did forget the one part. So they run in with the horse and the plow. They run into the former, you know, like the not snake. It was a snake, but it was somebody else. They run into some other former slaves and stuff like that they didn't lend them the horse, and they're like, hey, where do you get the horse? And they're like, you stole the horse, didn't you? And they're like, nah, man, some old man gave us the horse. And they're like, oh, who's the old man? And dang, for the life of me, I had to look up the name. But you know, they're like, nah, the old man, Sedevins or Sedevics, gave us
Sferkel or SVERKEL.
Say it one more time.
SVERKEL.
Oh, Sir. I don't know, man. I ain't Danish, so you know, like we're gonna butcher these Danish names. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not Danish, man. We're American. We're gonna say with an American accent, you know. So,
oh man, yeah.
Skidvid or something like that. Skidvid. So they're like, hey, Skidvid gave us this horse and this plow. And they're like, who? And they're like, yeah, man, some old man on the farm. And then the guys like start dropping their jaw and everything. Like, oh man, dude, he's the most important person on this farm. Like, you know, y'all don't even know. And he goes, so they ended it, like flash to the, you know, next scene and stuff like that. So they're inside their hut, and they're arguing. The Master and his father, turns out to be his father. They're basically having a conversation like, hey, man, you know, Snake found you in the field. You're passed out. You know, like, hey, you're too old to be doing all this stuff. Like, you need to stop, you know? And then he was like, no. He was like, I want to die in the field, man. I don't want to be dying in the house or anything like that. I
Yeah.
want to be died working. So you can really see like the work ethic though, man. Like, I did like that, like the whole appreciation of, working with your hands. Nothing's easy because, uh, you know, uh, uh, Snake is inside the room sleeping. So he's sleeping through this whole encounter. And so, he jumps up, after they have this conversation. He jumps up and then he's like, basically like, oh man, the food's ready, and the old man's all pissed off because he's like, hey, you don't work with your hands, you don't eat. And Snake is like, man, we work, man. We fend off the farm at night, and from all these raiders. And then the dad, the father of the land, he's like, yeah, dude, we pay you as much as we get robbed. So he's like, there's no really big difference of you saving our farm and us getting robbed. You're like, so I really don't see your worth here. So then the old man goes into basically saying like, you know, how his son is paying the lord of the land a massive bounty over what they need. So therefore, it's like allowing him to have a lot of land and without being disturbed by the kingdom. But it goes like with the title of the episode, buying a horse, right? It's like the master of the land is trying to buy his horse, his freedom, right? But he's not understanding that he has more land than he can actually protect, defend, hold together. And when that king is tired of his horse, he's going to therefore start cutting some pieces off. And his son doesn't realize that all the stuff that he's working for, the king can just take away at any moment. That's why he said, the dad was like, it's you. What you want to do is only work what you can work with your hands, and that's why he keeps that plot of land. Like that's all he can work with right now is with that his hands with is that plot. So he said, keep it in perspective, but the son doesn't realize that he's just paying and paying and paying. Doesn't realize that in the end it's futile. Like the king can come and take his land anytime he wants, and there goes all the hard work he did, right? So that's where it ends. It ends right there. Like it shows Snake. They get a little into a disagreement with Snake. Snake is like, "Nah, man, I'm working for y'all," and the old man's like, "No, not really." And they eat the food and they walk off and have a little chat in the moonlight, and then they go, and then the story ends like it ends. So that was Vinland Saga. Like, watch it for yourself, guys. Let me know what I'm missing. Like, I mean, did we
I mean,
learn a little bit of? No, go ahead, Nick. Go
no,
ahead, jump in
for
there. Yeah.
for me, like I've been on Twitter a few times already after it. People are like, this is a character development arc. That's why it is so good, because we're seeing how Thorfin was from last season to this season. And there's people that are like, oh, this season's already better than season one, and this is the greatest season of it ever. And for me, it's like I get the character development part. I'll give you that. I understand we took a time skip. There's new characters we got to know about. But 6 episodes to teach me about farming and character development. There's moments of these episodes where I'm like, you don't need this. I don't need you to sit there and tell me every detail of this character right now in the beginning. Because people that don't know Vinland Saga, you're not going to want to sit and binge watch these 6 episodes. I don't care how people are like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. It is not the greatest thing ever. You turn this into a full farming anime, and luckily for people that watch this later and binge it, the last episode was really good. So you kind of get them, and then this episode lags. These are one of those things where I feel like if you're not a Vinland Saga manga reader and you don't know what's going to happen, or if you're new and you haven't watched it, this is one of those things where I think is going to really lose a lot of people that are casuals, and that's what you need in anime. You need these people to keep pushing you forward in ratings. And I don't know. I mean, I think people are just gassing it up more than what it is, because some of
Dude,
these things I'm reading, like,
oh, no,
no, you're good. I'm done.
dude, they gassing beyond gassing. They are on their knees for these developers and creators and people to recognize them that they're doing a good job. Like I tell you right now, that is not me. I we told you from the beginning. We'll call it out if it's bad. If it's good, we'll say it's good. If it's bad, it's bad, man. Like I love these animes. I love anime. I'm not afraid to admit that this ain't working, man. Like I don't know how they're. I don't know how they're going to keep our interest. Like they have to. Like Netflix only like green lights 13 episodes max.
Yeah.
Like max 13 episodes. 10 to 13. If you're very very fortunate, 13, right? So like in the next 4 episodes, like we better get some action. Like I don't know how you're carrying people through this season. Like I know we're part A. There's part A, part B. That's the way Netflix always does it, right? So like I know we're in part A, but this has to be the grossly like horrible mismanagement, misdirection, directing. Sorry, I said direction, but I meant directing of episodes. Like I told you, like I've been through the manga already, because I'm trying to catch, like, am I missing something? Am I looking into these episodes and not seeing what these like artistic viewpoints are? Like, but it's not giving us like so in depth, right? Like when the father was talking to his son, like did we really get in depth into anything? No, it was all surface level stuff. It's like, hey dad, don't be working so hard because we found he passed out. Dad was like, oh, I want to die in the field. Like, what? Okay, we understand you're a hard worker. You already showed us that like 6 times over. Like, what, you plowing and you're like, what, 80 something years old plowing in the ground? Yes, we know you're a hard worker. But it's like, why spend an entire episode, doing some contrast on there, like in an entire episode, not entire 26 minutes, 21 minutes, 26 minutes, showing us how hard labor work is. Like, come on, man. So it's like, it's for those, I guess, people who don't know what hard work looks like, and they're trying to explain to you this is what hard work looked like.
Yeah.
It's hard because I guess, like we know what hard work looks like, like
Yeah.
we're Hispanic, like we've seen hard work our whole lives,
Like
like,
I've
like
done some
I'm
of
not
that.
saying like any other race, there's white people,
Yeah.
black people, everybody work hard, but I'm just saying, like, we know what hard work is, and we don't need 6 episodes to show us while farming's done, like it was nuts, man. It's a nutty time for this. Um, my dude that we were on point for 5 episodes. Siddharth from Leisure Bite, we were on point until he wrote this verdict on there. Vinland Saga season 2 episode 6 was among the best episodes of the season so far, and perfectly captures the vibe the series is currently going for. There's no better option to enjoy Mondays within a show that is about back-breaking labor. That is a man reaching for the straws and wheats of Vinland Saga. He's grabbing all the bushels together
He
to save
he
his
bet
job.
some money on this anime. His job is on this anime or something. Because that, I'm
Yeah.
like,
He
you
like me.
you
He
literally
suggested it.
you went
No,
from
go ahead.
taking
Go ahead.
lands, assassination, all this king stuff, and then went to horse farming. It's like you drastically went here. And we talked about it. I thought the horse thing at first, I kind of knew it was gonna be a horse stuff, but I thought maybe it's gonna lead into some more metaphor stuff. And I mean, yeah, cool. I'm seeing Thorfin as a new person, I'm seeing their relationship. That's cool. I've seen that in so many new things, in so many animes. You don't have to give me that in one full episode of, yeah, cool. And that's not how I want to spend my Monday off of work watching these people plow a bunch of stuff. I can see that on any other documentary on TV, on YouTube, or whatever. That is not what I wanted to do. If this is how the season one
Look,
started, I'd be like, fine, okay, it's different. But you drastically changed it than what it was.
absolutely. If you want to see how farming's done, go to YouTube. Go to NHK, which is Japan's national television, and you can watch all them documentaries on what Japanese farming does, what Japanese pottery does, Japanese matcha making, mochi making. You can watch it there. But this is not the time. In Vinland Saga, with look at my background, he's throwing a goddamn knife at somebody. like this is not the time to be showing us this, man. Like it is the weirdest thing ever, man. It was beyond weird. So Nick, I gotta ask you because I think like me and Sadat, I think we put our jobs on the line because I suggested Vinland Saga thinking season 2 was gonna be like season 1, where it's gonna be all action. Like we got a little talking here and there, but like
Yeah.
dude, season 1 like mixed and melded so well. Like episode 1 and episode 2 were like, yeah, it got us in the drama, but then by episode 2, it was like his dad was jumping boats and killing and beating up an entire boat full of people. You know, his dad died, and then episode 3, he's crying on the boat while watching Asalad while they're driving by, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you! I'm gonna kill."
Yeah.
It's like, where's that rage go? Where did all that artistic rage go? Where did all that love for the Viking, going out there and Viking, like ravaging land? Where did all this go in season 2? It's like, dude, it's just like fizzled, and
Yeah.
it's like, why do it? Like, I understand you want to follow the manga faithfully, but
Yeah.
dude, like, even like I told you, the manga itself, we have an entire, like, we're on chapter, what did I say? We're on 50 to 60 right now on chapters, right?
Yeah.
Each one like is literally one chapter. So if you start on chapter 50, you're on target. You're gonna exactly see what's on the anime. You're seeing in the manga. Like the manga, they just ripped it right out of there and then put it on screen and just threw color to it. There's no difference. Almost the dialogue is word for word. Like, no joke. So you're literally seeing, and I told Nick this, like, we're 10 chapters into nothing but farming and talk. So that's 10 episodes of nothing but farming and talk. There's nothing that happens in 10 chapters. Like, we don't see action. You don't like literally see action in the manga to chapter 70, like 74. That's when you see action. Like an actual action scene. Like, you're like, oh yeah, this has been the saga that I remember. It's like, Jesus. It's like
Yeah.
no way. They needed to mash all of this crap together. 3 episodes max. Like, we could have got this all done in 3 episodes. But Nick, out of 5 stars, what are we rating Vinland Saga?
Man, since we don't hold back on this, I'm gonna give it a 0.5. The only reason why I'm giving it a 0.5 is I guess the development of Thorfin and Erin, like seeing him be different, time skip. You gave me some, I guess, how they're different now, especially Thorfin of rage and all this to now what he is. I mean, he's pretty much gonna plow all of Denmark down of the forest. I'm not, and I get it. People were like, "Oh, it's not a shonen, man. It's not a shonen. It's not about." I'm like, that's fine. I am a Tokyo Revengers fan. They only talk in there, and I still get more action over there than what I'm getting here. And I'm like, there's so many animes that I've watched. We talked about Dragon Ball Z. You said it. they talk about character development within a few episodes and jump right into stuff because people's retention that nowadays. And so I feel like you said it. All these people that are gassing it up are just looking for that Twitter clout. They're looking to get noticed by them and be like, "Oh, you got supporters here." That's fine. I don't need to say that. I'm going to be honest with you. This episode literally put me to sleep. Right after that, I slept 4 hours because I was so bored. I there's games, there's other things I can do to get how to plow, to do I can get Harvest Moon if I want to do that. Like I did not like it. I did not like it. I didn't. There was no part of it where I was just like, yeah, this is going in the right direction. Like, especially from what we got last week to this week. I'm not gonna sit on YouTube and tell y'all like, man, this was really good. It really drove the needle somewhere. I don't get any of that from this.
Yes, you're grading it harder than I did. My least I would give it is a 1.
Yeah,
Because the style art is still amazing. I love the
yeah,
style art. Is really good. Like I said, like same thing with Tokyo Revengers. They didn't drop anything. They kept the motif still through the entire thing. These are the guys. Look, when I read articles, they always start off the articles with these are the guys that done from Attack on Titan and like that because they have to bring out the cloud on them. And I like that how
yeah.
you said that. I was trying to figure out the word for it, like the cloud. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little older. I'm not young, so like I don't use cloud like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're all on the clout train right now, like trying to get these studios to recommend them, like, oh yeah, recognize them. So when Attack on Titan comes out, they could be like, oh, here's some Attack on Titan stuff, because all these things. Now, as far as them saying not a shonen, yes, true that. Like it is not shonen, jump shonen. So yes, we cannot say that it's a shonen. Is it an action manga? Like they deceivably lied to us. If we read the entire first season, like you would expect it to be a action manga. Like there's no indication that it was going to turn into farmland. And what's that, Goat Simulator? Like I'd rather watch a Goat Simulator playthrough than to watch these 6 episodes. Like I'm not even lying with you. Like I would rather watch Goat Simulator. Like I would laugh and have more fun with that than this 6 episodes. Or I say 5 episodes because the last episode was really good. I liked it. It was like it was banging. But the
Yeah.
last, the other 5, like dude, I could do without. I take that back. You know what? I'll call it right now. We won't see anything until next season. If to next week's episode is going to be a lot better, you know, it's supposed to be a lot better. It's supposed to introduce a little more people and stuff like that. So, it's supposed to be a little better. A little more plot line of like clue, like where is he headed? He starts to ask for Thorfin, like where's Thorfin and stuff like that because he's reminiscing. So it's supposed to get a little better. So, but if we go all 10 episodes and it's like this, it's like you know, I don't know, man. I don't know about part B. I think we'll slow down and just like double up on episodes or something like that because there's a lot better episodes around the time part B comes out that will probably be broadcasted out. So if it continues to streak the way it is right now, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with this. This has like been a letdown, a real big letdown. So off my Vinland rant, but I give it a 1 star because it's beautiful animation. It did tell us a little bit of a storyline of like where the king is or where the master's headspace is, and where the father is like predicting the end of his son and stuff like that, or like the downfall of his son. I shouldn't say end, but like this downfall of his son. So cool, man. Like we could have got that in episode 3, and drove
Yeah.
some action in 4, 5, and 6, right? So like, yeah, 1 star for me. But that's the end. That's all we had to say with Vinland Saga. Hopefully it gets better. hopefully it comes out better.
Yes.
So so that with that being said, check out our Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. We're all on the channels. I posted up on there on our TikTok if you want to go check it out. 2 videos are really shorts. It's called Next Manga. So basically, they do a poll. It's one of the Next Manga is one of the biggest manga brands out there, review brands and stuff. So like out of like a million or like out of 100,000 votes and everything, they vote on the next manga that's going to be the next hit, right? So it's printed and then it's web manga. Go check them out, dude. They got some fantastic mangas. I recommend them all. I recommend 3 of them. Really, really good. Go in there, check them out. Let me know which one do you think you would like to read, or if you would like to, like for us to read it, and then we can give a little breakdown real quick. We can do a little short on there. Also, on top of that, also on top of that, I'm gonna shoot another recommendation out there for mangas. It's gonna come up. It's called Mr. Soto's Mr. Sato, and let me get the right name. Sorry about that. Got it right here. There we go. Sorry about that. It's called Sakamoto Days. Is what it's called. It's a manga that they're gonna turn into an anime. It's Kill Bill, not Kill Bill. It's John Wick, but like in reverse. So it's like, what if a hitman found out? What if a hitman fell in love, had a family, and then instead of being like John Wick badass, turn around and become fat, it's like a chubby dad, So it's like it is hilarious. The first couple of chapters, they're about like maybe about 100 chapters in, 106 chapters in, but it goes by pretty fast. So I'm gonna throw up a little video of it, and talk a little bit about it. So I definitely recommend start reading it now because they're turning it into a manga, probably 2023, 2024. They're going to turn it into an anime, so it's jump on the ball game early. It's hilarious. But it's something that I recommend. So I'm trying out some new stuff. Just trying to recommend a lot of manga to read, and then anime to watch as well. Upcoming stuff, new stuff. Trying to jump early on the trains for y'all to get y'all interested in that because manga goes deep, man. Anime goes deep. So let us know what you like to read. Let us know what you like to watch. Let us know in the comments. I'm happy to discuss anything with y'all or discuss anything that comes out. But that's it for me, Nick. You got anything?
No, just hope episode 7's better. I'm good. Make sure y'all just follow us on all of our networks, like you said. We posting some shorts up on YouTube explaining some of the shows we're watching, TikTok for sure. And man, just keep giving us comments of what y'all want us to talk about. If this ain't your cup of tea, let us know what it is, and we'll make sure to watch it and talk about it. Man, much love, everybody. Y'all have a good one.